Hello everyone. Welcome to TrinSoft's introductory video series on Microsoft Dynamics Business Central. Today's topic is the Role Center, and how to customize or tailor the Role Center to fit your need, your role, and the activities that you use every day. Be sure to check out our other videos in this series that cover things like filtering, accessing your environment, and things like My Settings and some tips and tricks. For the Role Center, today we're going to look at how to customize and tailor it to meet your needs. We're going to look at what personalization will do, and what do you do if you want to get some items on the menu that aren't there already. The Role Center is the main area that you use to interact with Business Central. It's comprised of menus at the top, as we can see, and some of these have a drop-down that have additional sub-menus. Then we have an action menu bar underneath, which is heavily used, and I'll show you how you can easily add things to that. Our most heavily used activities should be in the action area to the right. These should be the activities or windows that we use every day on an ongoing basis. And then we have other elements to the Role Center, including things like this announcement pane, tiles, activity tiles, and document tiles, as we can see down here, shown in these little squares. As we scroll further down, we even have other elements in our Role Center, such as this business performance chart, Power BI, reports, even trial balance elements, and favorite accounts. I'll talk about each of those a little bit later. First up, let's take a look at what it would take to modify some of these elements. And we do that like most personalization in the area with the personalization menu. Up here over under the gear on the right, choose Personalize. We've got a whole video on personalization and the pros and cons on how to personalize other pages in Business Central. We apply personalization to the Role Center just like those. When we're in personalization, notice that we have our little carrots next to each menu item, and as we hover over different areas, they're surrounded by a red square, right? A red rectangle or outline. When we're in that red area, we're modifying or evaluating everything in that block. So notice that the different carrots appear on all the little elements of this piece of our Role Center. This entire block I can grab with this carrot and I can move it up and down based on if I want a different place on my Role Center, if I want to put this at the top or move it to the bottom, or if I want to hide this entire thing, right? Once we have a box outlined like this, we can also hit the field area and it will show us additional tiles or things that we might be able to add into this group. In this case, incoming documents, I could take an add, I can bring it over here and drop in, and now I've added a tile to my Role Center. Notice that I have a lot of different tiles, right? They're visible out here. The ones that are shown in the Role Center, I can take different ones out as well by simply hitting the little caret and saying hide it. And it removes from that area of the Role Center. Okay? Each area is like that. And I can hide this area as well or move it down if I wanted to make more room for something else. Okay? All right, up at the top, the menus are the same way. I simply hover over a menu. We don't use Shopify in ours, so I'm going to go ahead and hide the Shopify menu. There's no need to have that. Notice that it's grayed out. When things are hidden, they're grayed out. I'm not able to easily add things to this menu and to my tiles section that aren't already there, but I will show you how you can add other navigational elements to this action menu right here. If we scroll further down the Role Center, we'll also see that there are other pieces that weren't visible. Notice the lines here that show that the job queue was not visible on my Role Center to begin with. I'd like to take a look at that and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go to the caret there and say show. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about these tiles and what we can do with them, right? As we take a look, as I said before, I don't use Shopify here, so there's no need to have this Shopify group, and I'm going to go ahead and hide that. If at any time I've made a change or I think I've made a mistake, I can always use the clear personalization feature to remove those personalizations and restore the Role Center to the way it was. Once I hit done, the Role Center is refreshed. Notice that my Shopify menu is now gone, been hidden. The Shopify tile group is also gone. And if I scroll further down, I can see that the job queue is now visible. So that's a quick and easy way to make elements. I can move any of these Role Center elements around, and I can hide and show various elements and change their order. I'm going to go back into personalization real quick. We'll make a couple of other quick changes. We're going to concentrate on the menu here. For me, I like the chart of accounts to be the first thing, so I'm going to grab that and scroll to the right. That's how we can adjust the order of these menus. On anything that has submenus, we can do the same thing. We have the ability to move these submenus around. For me, we're not going to do bank recs very often or bank deposits. I don't want that in this role center. We do them once a month, and I have a different person that uses it. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those two elements as well. I say done, and those changes have been applied automatically. Notice that chart of accounts is now the first item in the menu, and if we look in our cash management, the bank account rec stuff has been moved. So personalization does apply to role centers in the same way. Now, let's take a look at some of these tiles. What are these tiles? Tiles represent counts. They're usually counts or business metrics. In this case, they're organized by groups. So we'll look at a couple of different groups. We have sales and purchase orders. In our purchase orders, I can see 6 and 1. Those are basically counts of documents of that category. So in this case, I have 6 purchase orders. If I click the tile itself, it takes me immediately to the list, and from there, I can go to the document itself. So it's a very easy way to manage some of your lists. We can see that we have an ongoing purchase invoice, which we can also look at, right? And once we close out, there we go. So the other thing that they do, if you notice, some of these tiles have green or different colors, different bars. Well, that's based on the setting of the tile. Now, to personalize these tiles and what you have available to you, we can come into personalize and do that again. We simply go into the tile group. From the tile group, we want to display our fields. And as I showed before, we can show tiles that are not there, or we can hide some of the tiles that are here by using the caret to the individual tile. And I can move that and make purchase orders, right? Move it over to the right or hide it altogether. Click done and be finished with my personalization. But the other thing I'll show you about the tiles, you also have the ability to change them in queue setup. Each of these tiles are typically referenced in what's called a queue. I won't go into a lot of details with that. And if there is a tile you'd like to see and you can't see it in your fields or in queue setup, you might have to ask your administrator to get it added to your role center page. Any functional area can be added to a role center page, some easier than others. If you can't see a tile on your role center, you might have to use a different role center or check with your administrator on how to get something added. But I do want to show how we can manage the queue a little bit. I'm interested in keeping my purchase order count kind of low. Currently, I think I get warned if we have over 10 open purchase orders, but I'd really like to be warned if we have over 3. So to do that, notice I'm not going into personalization, but I'm hitting the drop down here on the activities, and I'm choosing set up queues. From there, I'm finding my purchase order queue, and this is a list of all queues or tiles that are available. Note, though, that not all of these are available on your role center, so you do have to kind of match up which tiles are visible on your role center. For my purchase order one, sure enough, I can see my different thresholds here from 0 to 10. I'm not going to get into a lot of details of this, but I do want to give you a quick demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and adjust that to 3. And if it's over 3, I'm going to say that that's an unfavorable result. And I'm going to close that setting. And look what happened to my purchase order tile. Now, basically what I've configured is I've told the queue that if I'm under 3 or under, my purchase orders are in a good state and I don't need an indicator. I don't need a warning. And there are a couple of different warning styles. But if they go over 3, that's an unfavorable state and I want to change the tile red, which draws my attention to it quickly. I can then hit the list and manage those purchase orders to try to get my count back down to 3. So that's how tiles work. There are a lot of tiles and queues available in the system. The last thing we'll talk about is maybe how to add things to your list up here. You know, maybe we want to get blanket orders. I use blanket orders pretty regularly and they're not available in my action settings. Again, I can go into personalization, click into this area and go to fields, right? And I can see that they're not there. Notice I do have some additional things I can add into my announcements area, but I don't have anything I can get added into my actions area easy. But one way you can do it is you can go find any system, any page in the system, such as a blanket order, and from the list, there's this bookmark link on the right. Notice this little bookmark right here. Well, if I click the bookmark and then close, it automatically adds that item to my list. So if you have some pages that you use on a regular basis and they're not in actions and your administrator or your team's not helping you get your role center laid out, exactly the way you want it, you can quickly and easily add these couple of these things yourself, no problem. Just find them in the search and hit that little bookmark. The other way to do it is once you're on a page, once you're actually on a purchase invoice or you're on a sales invoice or a bank account or something like that. Let's see, we'll go to another screen here. We'll go to a purchase return order, let's say. There's also a bookmark on each page right here in the top right. By hitting that bookmark, that will also put purchase return orders on my link. So the two ways to add those items to your menu is to hit the bookmark from search or hit the bookmark when you're on the page itself. To take them off, all you do is uncheck the bookmark and it's been removed. So very quick and very easy. Pretty common to see people with these roll centers blow this menu out a little bit. So it's got quite a few little links on there to try to make your navigation as easy and quick as possible. So hope you liked learning a little bit about roll centers. I'd encourage you to take the time to configure yours and lay out some of those menu items and those pages that you use regularly so that you don't have to click around or search too often for the things that you use on a regular basis every day, day in and day out. Please be sure to check out our other videos in this series. We've got everything from doing filtering to accessing your environment, some tips and tricks. So I'd encourage you to check those out. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.